Welcome into Steelers Talk Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. On today's show, what we're going to be talking about. The Steelers have made a cut today. I'm going to be revealing who that is in just a second. That pretty mug right there. And then we got some new Steelers trade rumors. There's some speculation that the Steelers could be moving their way up the draft order here in a couple of days. Can't wait to break it all down with you guys here in just a second. But first, Got to address this news here, guys. Jamir Jones, outside linebacker, has been released. I'm going to get into that in just a second, but first, stay locked in. All right, this draft season, we're going to be having a ton of great Steelers draft content. We've got a bunch of great stuff planned for you in the weeks before the big night. So if you want Steelers draft coverage, all or just about every single day here on the channel. We are the fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube. So if you want to join the Steelers Talk family today, all you got to do is click that subscribe button. It'd be a big help. I really do appreciate all of the support. All right, so now let's get into this Jamir Jones. Let's do this Jamir Jones news here, which is that he has been released. He's a backup outside linebacker, really hasn't been a contributor for the Steelers. And this is why this is a weird kind of release, is that he signed his exclusive rights tag earlier in the offseason. And what that means is that the Steelers originally planned on him returning. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if their plans changed. I don't know if their draft strategy is like, well, we're probably going to go get an outside linebacker, so we don't really need him on the roster. So that's why that this move is a little weird, because he did sign back with the Steelers this offseason, and the Steelers have said, no, thank you. We're going to release you anyway. So now the big question is, could the Steelers be making a move at outside linebacker? You get rid of Jamir Jones. Could they be bringing in somebody different, whether it be in the draft or what I would rather do, get somebody in NFL free agency? There's still a ton of great edge rushers that are still available on the open market. You take a look at some of these guys here. You got Yannick Ngakoue, Leonard Floyd, Justin Houston, Bud Dupree, and Frank Clark. All these guys are just really, really good players, in my opinion. I think that they can all get sacks at the NFL level. Now, some of these guys are a bit bigger. They're more defensive ends and not outside linebackers. But with a third rotational edge rusher piece, I think that, that's okay, because when you're bringing in a third edge rusher, usually that means they're coming in on obvious passing situations on third down, and you usually have a four-man front instead of the normal five-man front that the Steelers base out of in their 3-4. So you look at these guys, Yannick Ngakoue, probably the best edge rusher on the open market. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he'd be arguably the best rotational pass rusher in or rotational third piece as an edge rusher in the National Football League if he was signed. But let me know, which of these guys would you like to sign in NFL free agency? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So here's the deal, guys. YouTube's going to throw an ad break your way, just the way it works on this platform. Take advantage of that time by answering today's question by typing YN for Yannick Ngakoue, LF for Leonard Floyd, JH for Justin Houston, BD for Bud Dupree, or FC for Frank Clark. So now, next kind of segment here on the show, should the Steelers trade for Devin White? Inside linebacker, former top 5 draft pick from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has asked to be traded. And this one actually comes from a Nene Shadra. I want to give a shout out to him because he's somebody that reached out to me, wanted me to talk about this topic on Twitter yesterday. So Nene, here is your shout out. This is the tweet that he sent me yesterday. So I wanted to give him a quick shout out. He is a real one. He watches every single show. I appreciate your support, Nene. But let's get into this rumor a little bit. So Devin White has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after his contract negotiations with them kind of went south. But the thing is, Tampa Bay has said that they do not want to trade him, which definitely creates some tension there. If the Steelers ended up trading for him, his cap hit would be at $11.7 million and change, which, I'm just not sure if this is a great move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Personally, I can see why some Steelers fans would want to bring in a guy like Devin White. Big name. People heard his name when he was drafted a couple of years ago. He's a very athletic guy. He's a good locker room guy. And with the Steelers inside linebacker situation right now, You got guys like Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts who are solid pieces, but, bringing in a guy like Devin White, a big name, would certainly provide some star value, some maybe star panache to this inside linebacker room. You take a look at his career stats over the last 4 years, and they're pretty good. He's a pretty good blitzing linebacker is probably what I would say is his best strength. He's incredibly fast for being his size, and he's got 5.5 sacks last year. You can see that consistent sack numbers from an inside linebacker. That's something that he provides. Over 100 tackles the last 3 years. Super Bowl champion back in 2020. Team captain. This is somebody you want in your locker room as well. And I'm going to be getting into why potentially the Steelers just shouldn't make this move in just a second. But first, I want to give you guys a chance to go and get one of these awesome Steelers draft hats. The official NFL draft hats for each and every NFL team have been released. And I think this year's Steelers design is the best it's been in at least a couple of years. You got that nice stone color with the gold lettering and the Steelers logo in the middle. You got to go chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat to get yours on the Chat Sports website. These things are going fast. They always do. These things are really, really hot items. For me personally, I love this black and gold style that they have for this year's draft hat. You got the black with the gold lettering. I just think that just screams Pittsburgh Steelers. You got that gold NFL logo there on the side. So don't wait. These things go extremely quickly. They're starting to run out. We're starting to run out of stock here on the Chat Sports website. So if you want to be wearing the same headgear as the 2023 draft class for your Pittsburgh Steelers, go chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat today. All right, so for me, I would say no way to a trade for Devin White. I would say no way. I'm not even going to consider it. And, there's multiple reasons for this. There's not just one reason to not go get Devin White. I think that there are multiple. And that first reason for me is that he's going to be too expensive. Now, even if he was a good player in the National Football League, even if he was worth it on the field, I'm just not sure the Steelers can make it work financially. Reportedly, he is looking for a contract that is close to $20 million per season on his next contract over the next 4 years. You'd be paying that $11.7 million on his contract next year, but then when that extension kicks in, it's like, how are you going to expect to pay Devin White, Minkah Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, all of these defensive players, all that money? You just simply can't do it. The NFL is a salary cap for a reason. The Steelers just cannot make this work financially. So right off the bat, I think it takes it off the table. But let's say the financials didn't matter. I just don't think that Tampa Bay really wants to get rid of him, and if they do, they're going to be asking for way too much. Inside linebacker is one of the lowest valued positions in the National Football League, but this is somebody that, Tampa Bay really likes. They spent a top 5 draft pick on this dude. He's athletic. He's a team captain for them. It's just not very likely that, in my opinion, that they want to make a trade for this guy, and if they do, they're going to want, at least, at the bare minimum, a 3rd-round pick is what they're going to want for Devin White. And personally, I'm just not sure if he is worth a 3rd-round pick. He's somebody that has struggled in the past in coverage. And we all know that the Steelers need a coverage linebacker right now. So are we really going to give up that 80th overall pick, somebody that we get contract control of over the next 4 years? Somebody potentially like a Dorian Williams that could be even better than Devin White in the future? I just don't understand why some people would say, let's go get Devin White when he's not what the Steelers are looking for right now. And then my final point for why the Steelers should pass on trading for Devin White is that he's just not that good anymore, guys. He's just not. If you take a look at his numbers, yes, he puts up lots of tackles, but that's because the run game funnels the tackles to him. But if you take a look at his PFF grades over the entirety of his career, he has never graded well as an inside linebacker. He just hasn't. I think the highest he's ever gotten is 51.8 when it comes to a PFF grade throughout his career. And, that's out of 100. He's only getting halfway there. And, he's never been a great grader. He's never been great in coverage. He's not somebody that is a particularly good player. And, here they are, the PFF grades. 45.5 last season. Not very good. 2021 was even worse. 36.2, one of the lowest for starting inside linebacker. 2020 was okay, 43.4. And then 2019, his rookie season was actually his best PFF grade. This guy's getting worse since his rookie season. This is somebody that is not a particularly good coverage linebacker, and for me, that is what the Steelers need right now. If you can't provide that for you, I'm not paying $20 million per season to have this guy on my roster. It would be a huge, huge mistake. I mean, take a look at this coverage grade from PFF last year, 49.1, which was 60th among inside linebackers. Does that sound like the answer to you at the Steelers inside linebacker position? To me, it definitely doesn't, but let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Would you trade for Devin White? Type yes or type no in the comments section. You guys know my answer. I am giving a heavy no to this question, but let me know what you guys think. I want to hear it in the comments. All right, so here's another thing. I want to know, what would you trade in a trade for linebacker Devin White? If the answer is yes to the previous question, what would you offer? Would you offer that third-round pick? Would you offer a fourth-rounder? Would you only offer a seventh? Let me know what you guys would give up for him in the comments section. My answer to this is absolutely nothing. I don't want him on the Steelers roster simply because of the financials. Like, even if you traded like a seventh-round pick that likely won't end up being anything, you're still going to have to pay this guy a massive contract. And with the way that he has performed year in and year out, I'm not going to spend almost $20 million per season on somebody that Cole Holcomb or Landon Roberts does really, really well, which is blitz the quarterback. I want somebody like a Jack Campbell or Dorian Williams in this year's NFL draft that's really, really good at pass coverage, going back and getting interceptions, clogging up the middle of the field for opposing quarterbacks. That's what I want. Devin White, I should say, absolutely not a fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now, last rumor to go over. This one has been a big one going around Steelers Twitter lately. E.J. Snyder from the Bootleg Football Podcast, which is actually an excellent podcast that I would highly recommend. But anyway, he has lots of connections with the Chicago Bears organization, and he has said that the Steelers have been in conversations with them to move up for the number 9 overall pick. This is what E.J. Snyder had to say on the Bootleg Football Podcast. Bears and Steelers are possible. They've talked about it. I know they've talked about it. It's by no means for sure. The most likely connect the dots moment is that Pittsburgh needs and a tackle, and they go up for one because there's one they like, and they'll be gone by the time they pick at 17. So this is the potential trade package of what it would look like to move up. According to many of the Bears personalities that I know and I've talked to, they said that it would probably cost the number 17 overall pick, so you swap first rounders, and then you give Chicago back their second round pick, which is 32nd overall, that first pick in the second round. That's what it would take to move up and get a left tackle. And make no mistake, if they move up, in my opinion, it is to get one of those top offensive tackle prospects. So let me know in the comments section, what would you guys make this trade? If Chicago called you up and they offered you number 9 for 17 and 32, would you take it? Type trade or type pass in the comment section. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say about this, because, man, this is a big, big story on Steelers Twitter right now. So I would have mixed feelings about this trade. If the Steelers made this trade, I'd be happy because they get the number 1 offensive tackle on their board. It's probably going to be one of these 3 guys. We've been going over these 3 guys on the show probably over the last 2 months, right? Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson Jr., and Broderick Jones, they are the cream of the crop. And if they trade up to number 9, they want to get one of these guys, and they want to make sure that they secure Kenny Pickett's blind side for the years to come. That's the positive angle of it. The negative angle of it is that I'm not sure I want to part ways with number 32, because there's a ton of power with having that first pick in the second round. You could trade back. You could get somebody that you have a first-round grade on because you got that first pick in the second round. And the Steelers have quite a few needs that they need to address. It's not just left tackle. They needed a coverage linebacker like we've talked about on the show. They need a starting nose tackle, in my opinion. You could definitely use a big slot receiver. You need outside corner. You need a lot of stuff if you're the Pittsburgh Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you're trading these middle round picks in order to go get your guy in the NFL draft, I'm just not sure if you're going to have enough room to address those other needs, at least in my opinion. So if the Steelers make this move and they trade up to number 9, which offensive tackle prospect are you taking? Let me know in the comment section right now. Pick an offensive tackle prospect. If you would go get Peter Skoronski, type PS. If you would go Paris Johnson Jr., go PJ. And if you would go Broderick Jones, type BG or BJ.